DNC chair and ABC News contributor Donna Brazile, who of course knows Joe Biden very well. Donna, your reaction to President Biden's address to the nation?
I thought it was very heartfelt. 11 minutes. It was short, but it was so impactful. What he told the nation was his love of his country, his desire to complete his job, his determination to see a new generation with new voices and new faces to rise. He stepped back so that those who believe in freedom can step forward. He stepped back so that we can see the bridge that we've been trying to cross over. He stepped back so that the 21 million Americans who got health insurance, the 15.7 million Americans who found jobs after COVID, he stepped back so that we can continue that progress. I know there will be people out there in the country that just will never understand Joe Biden, why he ran in the first place and why he decided to step down after 3 weeks and 3 days of taking on, criticism from his friends, from people inside his tent, his party. It's been a very deep and very troubling time. But, the faith that he has, not just in a higher being, but the faith he has in us, the American people, that came through, Linsey, in those 11 minutes. So I've already sent my congratulations, Mr. President. We still love you. We still have your back. You still got a lot of work to do, so don't go get some chocolate chip ice cream. Don't go get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Mr. President. Mr. President, continue to fight. You're not finished the work. Linsey, this whole thing about passing the torch, and from the Greek literature, it's the runners. But Moses had 40 years, and he had to pass the torch. I am so proud of Joe Biden, because not many men in my life have given up power, let alone give up their power and their war chest to a woman. But over the last 3.5 years, this much I know, and I tell everybody, Kamala Harris is a proven leader. She's ready. She's not ready just because of her education. She's not ready because she was a DA in California, AG in California, United States Senator, but she has been a governing partner with Joe Biden for the last 3.5 years. She has traveled to over 20 countries. She knows over 150 leaders. You can't get that experience while just running your mouth. You get it by putting in the work. She has receipts, and I'm proud, so very proud of the Biden family. They took this with grace. They never once expressed horror, a grievance. They're like, we're going to keep fighting, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to Joe Biden and his leadership.
There was a moment tonight where President Biden asked the critical question, does character in public life still matter? And also referred to his humble beginnings. Let's take a listen.
My fellow Americans, it's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter, from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claremont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am.
I want to ask you in particular what you made of that question about does character in public life still matter?
It matters a great deal. Remember when Joe Biden entered the national public life, he lost his wife, a child. 2 of his sons had deep injuries. He had to put his life back. He suffered an aneurysm. He had to put his life back. He's had so many setbacks, but it never stopped him from making the American dream available to each and every one of us. When Joe Biden talks about his struggle with stuttering, I think about all of the kids in this country, all of the adults that have to overcome their disabilities, overcome their shortcomings, and yet can face tomorrow with joy, with the belief that you can still walk, you can still contribute. I'm not close to 81 yet, Linsey, but I tell you one thing, if the good Lord gives me as many years as the Lord has given Joe Biden, I hope I have his character, his decency, his kindness, and his willingness to sacrifice to let a new generation go over that bridge. Joe Biden has brought us so close to what we want in America, an America that sees everybody, the stuttering little boy from Scranton, the little girl from Kenner, Louisiana that was too dark to go someplace, and yet this is a country that sees all of us, the guy from the other side of the mountain, Mr. Vance, the little girl with pigtails and in Oakland riding her bike. This is who we are. And if we can celebrate just the fact that we come from everywhere and we are a little bit of everything. None of us are perfect. If we can take the example he has set and start talking to our neighbors and talking to our friends and co-workers with love, then unity will not just be words in a speech, but unity will be part of the American fabric that we love. I love this country, and more importantly, I love politicians like Joe Biden. I am so glad he's my friend. I love Dr. Biden. I'm so glad she's my friend. These are good, honorable, decent people. So I got to get on with my work, but I tell you one thing, Joe Biden kept the faith, and I'm going to keep the faith for him as well.
Your passion comes through. It is quite evident. And lastly, before we let you go, let's just talk about what happens next. There's been a lot of conversation about torch being passed. You've expressed confidence in Democrats now rallying behind Vice President Harris. But just walk us through what happens from this point up until the roll call and the DNC and what that'll look like.
Well, we had that meeting today. And by the way, this is for those of us who are insiders. Throughout this process, Joe Biden has never lost more than 3 votes on the platform, on the rules. Credentials 0. He wasn't hemorrhaging delegates. He was hemorrhaging, or I guess the best way to describe it, some people said I didn't want him to lead the team anymore. That's fine. They made their choice. It's their conscience. But he's leaving this party in good hands and good shape, and the vice president knows how to not just row the boat, but she knows how to include more people, because we're going to sail forward in the future. We're not going backwards. As the vice president said, we're not going back. So she will have to submit her papers, 300 signatures to place her name in nomination. I'm actually going to ask her if I can sign my name. I want my name in the history books. I want this kid from Louisiana. I want her to have her name. I want to help nominate her. I want to be one of 300. And then, of course, the process will go to the full body of the DNC, the DNCC, which is the convention delegates. We have until August 1st. If no one steps up, then it will move just a little quicker. But we all know by August 7th, we want both the president and the vice presidential nominee to be on the ballot in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. So we got a fast timeline, but we had an open, a fair, transparent process. And if you're interested in being the nominee for the Democratic Party, get your signatures, and guess what? Let the party begin.
All happening in short order. Donna Brazile, our thanks to you as always.